go back a very long way in our history. And as I said, the eastern part, East Middle Patton, and Banksville represent the earliest part of our township. So this morning I was thinking about the 200th anniversary of our country back in 1976. And of course there were great celebrations here. And one of the things that was decided was there would be 5 metal signs made and erected in the different parts of the town. One of them was for the Eastern District. 2 were for the Armonk District, and the last 2 were for North White Plains. So we'll begin with number 1, located at the Middle Patent Rural Cemetery on Middle Patent Road. That sign reflects the fact that the Middle Patent Cemetery goes back to 1743, when a very early settler named Samuel Banks came to this area circa 1695, and he was carried to the top of his hill where his cattle grazed, and he was buried on January 29th, 1743, and that is where the very beginning of the Middle Patent Rural Cemetery took place. The next sign was at our beloved historic Smith's Tavern. The first early town meetings were held there. Captain John Smith was the owner of the tavern in 1797. And prior to that, during the American Revolution, it had been lived in by a man named Ichabod Ogden, and the militia supplies were stored in the basement of what we know as Smith's Tavern. And now we go to the third sign that was erected in 1976. And that is at an area where a very important part of our history took place. In 1780, there was a capture of a British spy called John Andre. And Andre was held at the place at that time known as Thomas Wright's Mill. And it was one of the headquarters for our Army, and it was in charge of Lieutenant Colonel Jameson. And Lieutenant Colonel Jameson held Andre there overnight in a barn located on the mill site property. Today there is the remains of the foundation of that old barn, and in 1930 the businessmen of Armonk erected a monument there. And then years later I erected another monument there showing the layout of where the mill was and where the barn was, and telling the story of the containment of Major Andre in that building. Number 4 sign, that is again down on North White Plains hillside called Miller Hill. During the American Revolution, our soldiers made earthworks at the edge of the hillside so they could hide behind the earthworks and shoot down on the advancing British Army. The last sign, sign number 5, is also down in North White Plains, and it is at the Miller House, Washington's headquarters. We have been trying since 1993, when I became North Castle town historian, to get some repairs and some care given to the Miller House. This has not been successful. So we're very sad that the roof is falling apart, and the Westchester County legislators passed a bill indicating that there would be over $1 million for repairs of the Miller House. Unfortunately, our county executive, Astorino, vetoed it, and the Miller House remained unchanged. As North Castle town historian, I am always delighted to share the history of our wonderful town of North Castle. We have done articles on all of those in our North Castle history booklets. A booklet is published once a year. We encourage people to join because every dollar that you give to the North Castle Historical Society is used for the work of the society. We are not supported by the town, and we really want to keep those buildings in excellent condition. So please become a member of the society and join us for the